Hi, my beauties. What is up? Welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. And today's video, we're going to talk about how to manifest whatever the frick you want, the 101 crash course, right? Because some of you may be new to manifestation, might be new to conscious creation, or we might not be new, but want to just know how I go about it and how I do it, okay? And so basically, like I teach this stuff, right? My clients usually, when they come to me, they know how to manifest, or they're aware of the idea of manifestation. And if you don't know what that is, basically it's that you have the power to create your own reality, right? You hold the power to create the state of being you desire, the circumstances you desire, the life you desire. You can create how much money you make. You can create the jobs you have. You can create, the purpose that you follow in life. You can create your health, the body that you desire, right? You are the creator. You hold the power. You hold the keys to your kingdom or queendom, right? And, that is the foundation behind manifestation. So, you kind of have to be open-minded to that, or at the very least, maybe have some evidence of that, right? And we all do create. We all, are going about our day setting things in motion. It's just a lot of the world, revolves around creating with action, right? A lot of the world, of course you can create, but it's like with your physical hands, or it's creating, something like, tangibly creating something. But really, manifestation is about what starts before the physical comes into reality, right? Creation, the creation process, 90% of it happens before any action is taken. And that's the part that I really love to talk about and help my clients with and help you with, because that is really how you get to the physical manifestations. That's how you get the ideas in the first place to take the action steps to then create what you want. So I teach a very grounded version of manifestation. Of course, we do, you can do visualization, you can do a bunch of techniques. We'll get into it a little bit into what that is today and how to go about that. But yes, you do at the end of the day have to then take action. But I'm all about taking aligned action, hence the name of my channel, hence my brand, right? It's about aligned action, because you can take action all day long that is misaligned, that isn't the right action, that is action taken from a place of lack and scarcity or fear or anxiety or blame or guilt or shame. If you take action from those energies, right, that energy perpetuates. So basically, the action you take from that energy will create a scenario that makes you feel the same way, right? So if you take an action from a place of like anxiety and stress, that action, even if it could potentially solve your problem, logically, you're like, well, this will solve my problem, right? If you take it from that perspective, most likely you will get more of the same feeling. The action will lead to a reaction that causes more anxiety, guilt, shame, fear, whatever. But if you tune into an energy of appreciation, or even of just neutrality, of peace, of well-being, of feeling good, of feeling, abundant, of feeling joyful, gratitude, insert any, higher emotion, positive emotion. When you take action from that place, then you will create a scenario that makes you feel more of the same. So there's a bunch that's going on into that, but I'm going to let that land and resonate with you. So really, it is the intention and the energy behind your action that makes the biggest difference. And if you feel like, especially if you feel like, okay, I've been taking action in my life. I've been, like, for example, let's say you're trying to manifest, a slimmer, more toned body, or whatever that body looks like for you. Maybe you're trying to gain weight, right? We have people on every end of the spectrum. So whatever that is for you. But let's say you're trying to like lose a little bit of weight and put on some muscle so you're more toned, right? Um, if you take that action from a place of like, I hate my body, and like, so I'm going to starve myself, so I'm going to exercise 3 hours a day but hate doing it. I'm going to do an exercise that, the guru fitness people say will help me lose weight, but I actually don't enjoy this form of exercise. I'm going to do it anyway because that's what's going to get me my result. It's either not going to work, it might even backfire, or you might get the result, but you're going to gain 30 pounds back in a very short period of time, because the energy from which you did that from was not sustainable, and was the energy of, I hate myself, I don't like my body, etc., etc. So therefore, you will take actions that will make you feel even more that way. Does that make sense? Versus somebody who's like, okay, I'm going to love the body that I'm in, or do the best that I can to love the body that I'm in. And from that place of I'm going to feel as good as possible right now. I'm going to dress myself as well as possible. I'm going to talk to myself as nicely as possible. And I'm going to exercise because that's the healthy thing to do. And I'm going to do exercise that I enjoy. That person is probably going to get much better results and faster results because the energy from which they're doing it is positive and is a high frequency. And that's actually going to attract in their desired results in a more enjoyable, easy, and sustainable way. So that is one example of this. Of course, this can, be talked about in many, many different areas of life. So manifestation obviously is general. A lot of the women that I talk to and people that I talk to generally are very ambitious. They're very goal oriented. They have a lot of things they want to achieve in this lifetime. They're like, I have a mission, I have a purpose, I've got a big desire, big dream. So I tend to talk a lot about, maybe some business stuff, some success mindset tips, things that, will move you forward in life along your path to more money, to more success, to more clients, to more impact, to more whatever, because my people tend to be that way. So I talk a lot about that kind of stuff, but this applies to all areas of life. The principle is exactly the same. And so what I talk about today can be applied to any area of your life. Okay. So let's get into it. So your thoughts and your feelings, so your thoughts create feelings, right? And also feeling states produce thoughts. So they kind of, are a infinity, right? Infinity symbol. If you think different thoughts, you'll probably feel different feelings. If you feel differently, you'll have access to different feeling thoughts because there is an emotional scale. So let me just briefly go into that. There's an emotional scale, and there's lots of emotions that range from the bottom of like depression, grief, unworthiness, guilt, shame. Those are like the bottom of the scale. The very top is like love, joy, appreciation. And there's emotions ranging in between, right? So basically, if you have something that you haven't manifested yet, there is a set point. There is an energetic set point that you have on that subject, okay? And every subject in your life has its own set point. And that's why you can have people that have great health, for example, but no money, or people that have amazing relationships, but not great health, but money, right? Or maybe there are people that, they feel great about themselves, but they, their career is in the dumps, right? There are so many different variables and people living different life experiences, and it's kind of like, why, right? If you don't know this principle, if you're not aware of energy and the law of attraction, you're kind of like, well, why do some people have this and some people don't? Now, just to just to kind of back that up, I do believe that people have control over most of what happens in their life. However, I do also believe that there are certain contracts, soul contracts, if you will, or experiences, agreements, whatever you want to call it, that we agree upon as a soul before we come into this lifetime. So I do believe that there are certain events, maybe people we're meant to meet, maybe experiences we're meant to have that we're always going to have no matter what. So I do believe that we control most of our life. I'm just going to say control for the sake of it, maybe not the best word, but we do have an influence over how our life goes for the most part. But I do also believe that there are certain events and circumstances that we were always going to be meant to experience no matter what our vibration is, high, low, in the middle, doesn't matter. So that's how I feel about that. So basically, you have a set point on each thing in your life. So the area that you are trying to manifest and maybe you are struggling in improving, there is a frequency going on there. And it's a frequency that maybe you inherited from your family. Maybe your family kind of gave you these ideas and feelings in the first place, and that's how you perpetuated it. Or maybe it's something that on your own, you kind of had your own understandings and your own, maybe some traumatic experiences around, maybe just some beliefs that you just subconsciously agreed to in life. Maybe, whatever, it doesn't matter how it happened, but you have an energetic set point. So if you're not, succeeding in that area, you have a set point that isn't serving you. So the whole point of manifestation is how can we improve that set point? How can I improve the energy around the subject that I want to create in? All right. I also don't want you to judge yourself for it. I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm an idiot, or I'm not good enough, or I'm whatever, I'm bad for not feeling better about this area, right? Most likely the area that you are struggling with, you have had some negative experiences in that have proven to yourself, to your brain, that this is the way things are, right? This is how it is, right? People will say, this is how it is. Just, it's always been this way for me. I've always been overweight. I've always, been broke. I've always had bad relationships. I've always been ignored. I've always, right? We have these stories. So if you hear yourself saying, or hear people talking and they say, I've always, or this is how it's been for me, this is just who I am, you know that their set point around that is that way. That's a clue. Those phrases and words. I've always been, it always is, of course, this is who I am, it's just the way that it is, right? But that's not ultimately true, that it has to be that way. Maybe that's the way it has always been in your lifetime, in this lifetime. Maybe that's the way it has always been for your family, right? And these are all valid facts. They can be factual, they can have a truth element to them, but they're not actually the highest divine truth. It's not actually 100% true that life has to go this way for you or has to continue to be this way for you in that area. So that's the first kind of premise that we have to talk about there is, can you open your mind and your body to another possibility, right? So the first thing that I like to ask myself and ask my clients when they're trying to create a new reality is, how willing am I, right? So I want you to kind of grab a piece of paper or write this down on whatever, a scrap of paper or your phone or whatever. How willing are you on a scale of 0 to 10 to see this differently? So whatever the area is you want to create a new reality in, how willing am I to see this differently? To think different thoughts, to create a new reality, because sometimes we're not actually willing, right? We might desire change, we might desire more money, we might desire more clients, we might desire a different body composition or a different type of relationship, but do we actually want it deep down? You may have some self-sabotaging going on. You may have some fear, some programming that is keeping you where you're at, because if you were really, really 100% ready, you most likely would have done it by now, right? Especially if it's something that you've been trying to do for a while. So again, don't judge yourself, but just be honest with yourself. 0 to 10, connect to your heart, connect to your body, ask your body that question. How willing am I to change this area? How willing am I to see this differently, right? 0 is like not willing at all, of course. 10 is, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this. No more excuses. Let's go. I want this. I'm all in, right? And again, be honest with your answers. So if the answer is like less than an 8, you're not that willing, right? If the answer is 8 or above, great. You're pretty much there. You're good to go, right? But if you're not willing yet, that's okay. But now we want to ask ourselves, why are we not willing? Why are we not willing to change this area of our life? And there's going to be some fears that come up, right? And I want you to take note of what they are and just ask yourself this. So, watch this video back again, pause, reflect on it, this question. So why am I not fully willing? And most likely you don't feel safe to. You don't feel safe to. And I have other videos on this channel about why safety is so important. So I won't dive too deep into that. But we have, like Gay Hendricks from The Big Leap says, upper limits, right? We have upper limits. And these upper limits are basically safety guardrails that our nervous system and our minds put in place to keep us alive, to keep us safe, which is a really, really good thing on one hand, but it can stop us from living our best lives, right? It can really derail us and sabotage us. So if you keep hitting the same circumstances over and over again and you can't get past a certain place, you most likely have an upper limit in place. And this question, why am I not willing, or why is it not safe to, will help uncover exactly what that is. So you want to write that down and soothe those answers, okay? So it's about, how can I see this differently? So let's, for example, people that I know that I help, a common one is, okay, well, I want more success in my business. And I ask them why they're not willing or they don't want to have that success at a deeper level, it's usually, well, I don't want to be judged by the people, or I don't want to be, trolled online, or I don't want to be seen, in a light that is uncomfortable. So it's fear of judgment, fear of not belonging, fear of being the black sheep, being different, fear of negativity coming at them, right? So it really is about soothing those stories. So, it depends on what your answers are. And that's why getting support is so important, because, somebody can work through it with you individually, but you can do a lot of this work yourself. So it's about soothing that. So if the answer is, well, I'm afraid that, my family or friends are going to judge me from high school because now I'm putting myself out there in this new way. Well, how could you make that feel safer for yourself, right? Breathe into that sensation, that uncomfortable feeling. I also recommend EFT tapping for releasing these beliefs and these feelings and these fears that are stopping you. I have a link in my description to a free EFT tapping training so you can do this on your own, okay? If you want to go check that out, go and do that because it really releases this energy in a really fast, effective way. So you can use EFT or you can just talk yourself into a better feeling space or breathe into it or move it out of your body some other way. But you want to address that fear. You don't want to just skip over it and be like, oh, it doesn't matter, like, not a big deal. You want to address the fears because this is really what's stopping you. Once those fears are out of the way, or at least they're like calmed down to a level, you'll find yourself moving forward so fast. You'll be like, well, why was this a big deal? Why did I stop myself? Right? That's what happens. And that's the work that I love helping people do because it really is a game changer. So many people aren't looking at the fears and why they don't want to move forward. And that is so key in manifestation because really it's you against you. You are stopping yourself from having the things that you want. Always. Always, 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 it's you versus you. Even if you think it's somebody else's fault, if somebody else programmed you that way, it's still always in your now comes back to you. And trust me, I have plenty of people I could blame for, lack mentality that I inherited or just certain ways of being that didn't serve me as an adult. But as an adult, it is now my decision and my responsibility if I want a better, different, more expansive life to deal with that. So yes, it does come back to me. No matter how it came from, no matter who it came from, no matter what happened, it always comes back to me. And it's my job now to find a higher perspective, right? So you can also ask yourself, how would God see this? If you're not into, if you're not religious that way, you can ask yourself, how would the universe see this? How would source see this? How does my higher self see this? How does my heart see this? How does my soul see this? Right? Those are really, really powerful, powerful questions. Okay. And write those down. Soothe those stories. Okay. Part two, you can get at more beliefs. So the part one was like the deeper fears, and you may want to do some more work around that, right? That might take some time. Again, give yourself time with this. It might not be a one-day exercise. It might be for some people, but for a lot of people, it's going to take a little bit of, a few kicks of the can to really soothe the energy and move forward. Just give yourself that grace and give yourself that time. So part two is your beliefs. So here's where we're going to see where our beliefs are around it. So again, rate yourself 0 to 10 on that area that you want to manifest in, right? If it's money, your business, clients, your body, whatever. 0 to 10, how done does that feel? And give yourself a time limit. And I only say a time limit because it brings up all of your excuses, right? I'm not saying you have to stick to that timeline or that time matters. In manifesting, it doesn't. The only reason I'm adding a time limit is because I want you to see where your resistance is. So what to you would be a really, good time limit that you would feel excited about, but also isn't, impossible to you. So, do you feel like you could meet your weight loss goal in 6 months, right? Or your booty gains goal in 6 months, whatever it is, right? What timeline feels like the sweet spot? Not too long, but not too short that it feels impossible. So write that time down. In X amount of time, I will achieve this. How done does that feel? 0 to 10. 0 being not at all done, right? No fam. 10 being 100%, this is done, it's done, right? Where do you fall on that scale? Take note of that, okay? And then I want you to ask yourself, why do I not believe this is 100% done in that time frame? Write down the answers that come to mind, the excuses, the limitations, the but this, but that, I'm not, da 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 da, right? Write all those down. The next question is, how much do you trust that you can have this happen in the next X amount of time? Trust. Write that down, 0 to 10. What's the number? And then what are the reasons that you can't trust? Right? The next one, why do you not feel worthy of having that happen in X amount of time? So rate how worthy you feel, 0 to 10, right? 10 being 100% worthy, 0 being not at all. If you're less than a 9, write down why. Why am I not worthy? Get all of those reasons out. And then, like I said, you can use a tool like EFT tapping to tap out those beliefs, right? Tapping is basically based in acupuncture, and it helps with the energy meridians running through your body. So it releases energy blocks, it programs your subconscious. It's a really amazing tool. So that's my go-to in most cases. But you can also, again, find better feeling thoughts. So if the belief is, well, I haven't done this yet, that's a common one, right? I haven't done this yet, so I don't believe it. I haven't done it yet. Well, how many things have you done for the first time, right? There was a time when you first learned how to walk and you hadn't walked before, right? But little babies aren't like, I don't believe I can walk, right? They don't have that limitation. They just keep trying and keep going. What else did you feel that way about in your past? Right? There's always, we've created everything. Everything in your life basically has been a new experience at some point, right? There was a time you didn't know how to drive or ride a bike or how to, speak in front of an audience or speak in front of a class, or there was a time that you didn't, you hadn't kissed someone yet, right? Like there are so many examples of firsts. So this is just another first, right? And it's really good to remind yourself of all the times that you felt that way before. Like for me, you know, there was a time that I wasn't doing this, that I didn't have a YouTube channel, that I wasn't a light worker, that I wasn't a coach, right? That I wasn't somebody who was doing what I'm doing. I was a server at a restaurant for many, many years before I did this. So this was new to me. And I had those same thoughts and feelings about this. Like, well, I haven't done this before. I haven't helped people in this way in a professional setting. I haven't, who the fuck am I, right? Like, who am I to do this? Like, I was a waitress, right? Like, but I knew that it was something that I wanted to do and had to do and was part of my life path to do. So when you are like, this is new to me, remind yourself of all the past times you felt the same way and did it anyway and it worked out, right? So that's what I mean by soothing those stories, finding a little bit of truth that you feel grounded in and you're like, this is true, to kind of hold on and like build that momentum, right? And to soothe those stories and get that number up. Now, it isn't about being perfect. I don't want you to be like, I have to be a 10 out of 10, believe this the first time that I attempt these exercises. Please don't do that to yourself. Don't fall into perfectionism. Don't create these, what do you call these, unattainable expectations or these like wild expectations for yourself. Just be satisfied with feeling a little bit better. And then tomorrow, come back to the same exercise and see how you feel again on the subject. How done does it feel? Is it a 6? Is it a 7? Is it an 8? Is it a 9? Has it gone down? Has it gone up? How do I feel? And don't judge how you feel, but just be honest with yourself. And then again, find the stories that you're telling yourself and the fears that feel uncomfortable and are in resistance, because all of these beliefs and all of these stories you're telling yourself is what resistance is, and this is what's keeping you away from what you want. And that's why it's so important to understand what they are and how they sound like and what they're telling you, and reframing them, releasing them, right? Finding a better feeling story, finding a better, feeling energy. And then from that new set point of your energy, now you're creating a new point of attraction. So now, even if you shift yourself like 1% in a new direction, right? You are now attracting 1% more, right? That's how you see it. It's kind of like you're in a new frequency. You've changed your radio from 94.5 to 94.6. And that might not seem like a big deal, but now you're attracting a different form of circumstances to you, even that 1%. So when you keep this going and the next day you try again, the next day you try again, and you feel better and you feel that momentum building in your body and it's becoming more and more positive, and you feel like you're being inspired by your desire and ideas are flowing and people are mentioning things that are relevant to what you're talking about, and you're getting ideas and you're taking different action steps and you're feeling really good about it, even though it's not here yet, man, the momentum is really building. And before you know it, you will be at a 9 or a 10, and then boom, around the corner it's going to come into your experience, but you're already going to feel like you have it because you're already in the energy of it, right? So do not try to go 0 to 100. Just work on feeling a bit better every single day. That's the work. That really is the work. And you'll be surprised at how fast that momentum builds. You really will. It's pretty incredible. So the third step, of course, is to stay in that energy. So once you've shifted your thoughts and feelings enough, right, and you've soothed your fears enough, you'll see the momentum start to build. And one more thing I have to say about that is really see how you feel in your body. So when you tell yourself, a story that isn't ultimately true. What I mean by that is like it isn't your highest truth. So if you tell yourself a story like I'm unworthy, right? Saying to yourself, well, I'm not worthy of the money that I want or the relationship that I want. That feels bad. Saying that, thinking that, feeling that is a harsh feeling. It's a dense energy. So you will feel a contraction in your body when you say a statement like that because it disagrees with your highest truth. It disagrees with your soul, and that's why it feels bad. So that's the first thing is like anything that feels bad is ultimately untrue, meaning the meaning behind it is untrue. Because, for example, you could be like, well, I broke up with my boyfriend, so I feel bad, right? That is a truth. You broke up with your boyfriend and you are feeling bad. But you're not feeling bad because you broke up with your boyfriend. You're feeling bad because of the stories you're telling around the breakup, right? So you're saying, well, I'm alone now, or I made a mistake, or I won't find love again, or I really miss him, or, things just don't work out for me in relationships. That is what's making you feel bad. Those stories are untrue. Not the fact that you broke up. That's a fact. That's truth, right? But it's the stories around it, the meanings, the assignments that you've given to an event in your life that is untrue. Ultimately untrue. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. It usually does. So you want to get at the actual feeling in your body. So if you're telling yourself a story like, I'm not worthy because I'm too young, I'm too old, I wasn't born in the right circumstances, right? That story feels bad in your body. So find the contraction in your body. And by doing the work that I mentioned earlier, finding a new perspective, a better feeling story, the goal is to make that feeling in your body, that tightness, that tension, that contraction, release. You want to feel relief. You want to feel relief in your body in that sensation. That's how you know you're actually moving energy. Because there's so many times that you could just like kind of trick yourself and be like, oh, well, I'm thinking a positive thought, right? You can be like, well, I'm just going to think that I'm worthy. But does thinking the thought I'm worthy actually change that feeling in your body? Did it actually change that contraction and release it? Or did the contraction just get even tighter because you don't actually believe that? So I really want you to focus on thoughts and stories that you actually can get behind and believe. And as a result of that, you feel the release of the tension in your body. That is telling you that you are on track and you have changed your point of attraction, not trying to fool yourself. And that's why I have a problem with affirmations in general. Affirmations work when done properly, but so many people misuse them and just like say, tell yourself you're a millionaire, tell yourself that you found your soulmate, tell yourself you're 30 pounds lighter, when that's actually going to mess you up even more because you don't believe that yet. So that contraction is still there. You're like, I'm a millionaire, contraction, because your body doesn't believe that yet, doesn't believe that to be true. So you have to find other stories that are on the path of what you want, but actually release the tension. That is the key. And that is something that people just don't talk about often enough. So I really wanted to put that in there. You have to feel different in your body. It's not just think positive, it's am I positive? Do I actually believe what I'm telling myself? That's the key to changing your energy. And you'll feel the difference. There is a big difference. You'll notice it immediately, right? That's the goal. And then the next step really is to maintain that energy. So, a really good way of keeping the energy going of what you desire is, well, how would it feel to have what I want, right? So, if your goal is more clients, well, how would it feel to have these clients? It'd feel exciting, it'd feel, fun, I'd feel inspired, I'd feel successful, I'd feel proud of myself, I'd feel more abundant, I'd feel like things are working out for me, right? You can get on a tangent of how you feel, or you can script things out and be like, well, this is how I want things to go. I want clients that get me, they appreciate me, they love what I do, they're ready for results, they want to transform, they're serious about investing in themselves, they say yes, right? They pay in full, they love to pay me, they love the work that we do together, they recommend their friends, right? You can kind of get on a tangent of scripting how you want that area to go, right? And you want to do this consistently, right? Make a habit of it every day, because this is how you change your energy, by coming back to it every day and making sure you're fluffing up that energy so that it's flowing in the right direction, right? But you want to, build some momentum first by clearing away the heavy resistance. Then this next part is what you do next, right? Don't just start out of the gate doing this, because you're going to activate more resistance, right? And again, feel into your body. You can tell which way you're leaning, resistance or alignment, depending on how you feel in your body. If you feel neutral, great, you're in alignment. If you feel better than neutral, you're in alignment. If you feel tension, dense, anxiety, whatever, you know that you're in a bit of resistance, right? That is your ear marker. So, really talking about where you're going, what you want, how it would feel. What would it be like? How would you feel about yourself? What are the thoughts that you would be thinking about yourself? How would you show up in the world? Is that different than how you're showing up now? Right? You want to get into this new energy frequently. And then if there are new action steps that you're inspired to take, or you know that you would be showing up differently or more bold or in a new way, you do it, right? The last step is the aligned action. So what are the ideas you're now getting? Now that you're in the energy, right? You're in that new frequency, that new state of being. What are the thoughts coming? Ooh, I should post on Facebook. Great, do it. Oh, I should sign up for that kickboxing class because that sounds fun. Great, do it. Oh, I should go for a walk right now. That sounds really good. Great, do it. Right? These downloads and inspirations that are coming to you are things that are on your path to having what you want. And a lot of the time, they might not make sense. Sometimes they're like weird, odd things like, oh, I really want to Slurpee right now at 7-Eleven, right? That can literally lead you to where you want to go in some weird way. Maybe by going there, you're going to like run into an old friend who like wants to buy your services, or maybe you're going to run into somebody who's going to remind you of the right class to take that's going to help you, get the body of your dreams. Maybe you're going to, find love around the corner from 7-Eleven, right? Like you never know. And that's why you have to honor these nudges. And they're going to feel like things that feel fun and like a good idea to do. They're going to feel joyful. Now, sometimes, however, they might immediately feel fun and joyful and like the right move, but then your fear will kick in. So you really have to be able to discern, like, was my immediate feeling about this good? Like, yes, this is the next step, or this would be fun, or this would be really cool. Yes, yes, yes. And then fear came in, because if fear comes in right after, that's your ego, right? That is the part of you trying to keep you safe and keep you small. So if the first feeling was like yes, and then you had fear, it's still the right move. So it's about soothing the fear and then this taking action anyway, because there are a lot of things that I knew I was supposed to do that would get me further, that was the aligned action, but I still had some fear around it. So now that I've been doing this for a while, I kind of can differentiate between, oh, that actually isn't aligned for me, versus, oh, that is aligned for me, I'm just scared. Right? So if it is aligned for you, you have to do it anyway. You've got to somehow work through the fear. Like I said, EFT tapping is one of the main ways I work through fear, and then just kind of show up and do it. Like, me doing this YouTube channel, for example, kind of scared me, right? I knew it was the right next step to do, but it still scared me, but I still did it, right? You have to work through the fear. Having some fear doesn't mean that it isn't actually the next right step. Often it does, because it's stretching you. It's you being a new version of yourself, right? It's you being bolder, being more confident, being more, stepping into your worthiness, showing up bigger, playing bigger. And that will feel uncomfortable, but doesn't mean it's not aligned, right? So I want to make that really clear too. You can have fear, but still know it's the right thing to do. And then if that's the case, you move through it. There are times, however, where ideas are like, or people suggest things and you really feel like it's a fuck no from the beginning, right? Honor that too, right? Like not everything is a yes. So this takes practice. It takes, paying attention to your body, knowing how your intuition works. And that's a whole other, topic for another day. But do the stuff, even if there's a hint of fear behind it or a lot of fear behind it. If you know it's the right thing to do and you know that it came from a place of like expansion and like this is the next step and like it, then you've got to figure out a way to make yourself feel safer to do it. Whether it's reaching out to a friend for accountability, working with a mentor or a teacher to help you, or just releasing the fear, soothing yourself, and then just taking the action, even a little bit scared anyway. Like most things are going to have to be that way. They're going to be a little bit uncomfortable, most likely, because that's why you're growing, you're stretching, you're going beyond what is comfortable for you and what you've known for a long time. And that's just how it works. So once you do all those things together, you'll see things start to come into place, start to click into place, right? This is how I've manifested my soulmate. This is how I manifested my hair. It's a long story, but I really had short, unhealthy hair for a long time. I manifested longer hair. How I manifested my business. How I manifested my new friendships that are so amazing and aligned, and they're spiritual people and they're go-getters and they're caring and loving, right? This is how you create anything in your life. Health, wealth, more money. This is the foundation. So I really hope that this video put things into perspective for you. I hope that you got a more grounded view of manifestation and how things work for real, not just what's trendy on TikTok and whatever. This is the real shit. This is how you actually get stuff done, right? So comment below if this helped you. I really want to hear from you. If you have any questions as well, comment below. If you have suggestions for more YouTube videos, I'd love to get ideas for the next ones to do. Also, like this channel to promote it. Share it with friends if you feel like doing that to help me out. And I wish you guys the best. Happy manifesting. Love you guys. Bye.